Tragically, a couple from 90 Days of Marriage, Happily Ever After, has left the United States after a family member's death. Sadly, 90 Day Fiancé's cast fatalities have had a profound effect on fans and brought attention to the real-life turmoil that goes beyond what's seen on screen. Notable deaths include Jason Hitch, 45 years old, from COVID-19, and David Murphy, 66 years old, from long-term health problems. The stories they told struck a chord with their audience. The tragic loss of Annie Francisco and Robert Spring's son Adriel, and the death of Glenda Standridge, who passed away just hours after Angela Dean's wedding, are two more tragic events. A lot of people are wondering about these reality show deaths and cases of 90 Day Fiancé tragedy because of these touching moments on the program and its spin-offs, which demonstrate that the cast members' real-life challenges can be just as dramatic as the drama on screen. Julia recently announced on Instagram that she and Brandon have departed from the United States. Greetings from Hong Kong, Julia captioned her photo. Brandon and she had a long-time desire to go to Japan, she said, but they didn't want to fly so far that they missed out on seeing some nearby nations. Julia elaborated by saying that after a brief stop in Macau and Hong Kong, they would be on their way to Japan. The relationship between Julia and Brandon hasn't exactly been picture perfect from the beginning. Brandon had already accused Julia of infidelity with her ex-boyfriend while they were still on a break, long before Julia emigrated to the United States to marry him. Because of Brandon's parents, Julia had a hard time regaining his trust and later had trouble adjusting to life in the United States. Julia felt uneasy about Ron and Betty Gibbs' over interest in their son's activities. Because Brandon would always reside near Ron and Betty in Virginia, it was guaranteed that she would never have the opportunity to move to her ideal city, like Miami. After successfully vacating the family farm, Brandon returned the key to their new home to his mom. When Julia expressed a desire for her parents to immigrate to the United States, Brandon took offense. Simba, Julia's beloved puppy who she loved like a son, died not long ago, adding insult to injury. Despite Brandon's pressure, Julia remained against having a family, and her best friend Seema passed away from a stroke. It would appear that Brandon has finally made up his mind to grant Julia her marriage wish list, and part of that wish list is to temporarily remove themselves from American soil so Julia may get some much-needed perspective. Brandon has shown his concern for Julia and his ability to prioritize her needs over his duties to his parents. Maybe he can't cut the cord just yet, but when his parents' demands of Julia get absurd, he can certainly stand firm. They can yet salvage their marriage thanks to his attempts to demonstrate his love for Julia. Season 9 of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, will see Julia and Brandon's return to the program. Even if Julia isn't emotionally or psychologically prepared to have a child, Brandon will likely insist on having one anyhow, according to the previews. Additionally, she is coping with health difficulties in silence because she is not yet comfortable discussing them. But because they are now on their ideal vacation, it's possible that therapy was effective for the pair.